This presentation covers partnerships. It's part 4, and what we're going to be looking at now is what happens if a new partner wants to be part of the partnership, but he gives the assets directly to the business. The new partner can also gain partnership interest by contributing cash to the partnership. Remember that the new cash will increase the partner's total capital or net assets. 3 methods are available: the bonus method, the Goodwill method, and what we call the hybrid method. So first we're going to start with the bonus method. We have Pam, Mike, and Dan. That's their profit sharing. And under the bonus method, Bill would like to get 20% and he's going to give $60,000 to the partnership. Well, the first thing you have to do is determine the book value. And remember, when anything goes directly to the partnership, it has to be added to the total capital, which also equals the net book value. So in this case now, we're adding $60,000 in cash, so our total capital is $200,000. Now we need to determine the new partner's capital balance. So Bill will own 20% of the net assets, which is $40,000. Determine the bonus or reduction of existing partner balances. So he's giving 60. He's going to get a capital balance of 40, which means 20,000 needs to be shared with the partners based on profit sharing. So Pam's going to get 8, Mike is going to get 5, Ann is going to get 7 for the total 20,000. Now we can do that journal entry. And this is what it's going to look like. Cash is going to be 60. Bill's going to get 40,000 in his capital account, and Pam, Mike, and Dan will be adjusted for their bonus of 20,000. Now let's take a look at what do the ending balances look like based on the bonus method when the cash goes to the partnership. Well, those are the original percentages. Based on that, we did the profit sharing. But now Bill owns 20%, and of course, probably the profit sharing percentages will change as part of the new contract they come up with. Now, what happens if the Goodwill method is used for Pam, Mike, and Dan? In this case, Bill is contributing $60,000 to the partnership for a 20% interest. First, you want to determine the total capital again, which will include the $60,000 in cash. Now we're going to determine the implied value, which we're going to take the $60,000 Bill is giving divided by his percentage ownership, which means there's implied value of $300,000. We're going to subtract these two, which tells us there's going to be goodwill of $100,000. We need to allocate the goodwill to the existing partners based on their profit sharing. So the $100,000 would be allocated like this. And then we can do our journal entry that shows the allocation. And then we will journalize Bill's contribution of the $60,000. So that's how you do it when you use the Goodwill method. What happens? Here are new balances under the Goodwill method, which equals the new value of $300,000. Now, what happens if instead they decide, wait, well, let's use the hybrid method? Okay, so when using the hybrid method, the only adjustment is for changes in the valuation of identifiable assets of the partnership. Assume in our example that there is land undervalued by $50,000. First, we have to adjust the books to the fair value of the identifiable asset and allocate it based on the existing partner's profit sharing. So in this case, we would increase our land account, then allocate it to Pam, Mike, and Dan based on their profit sharing. Then we're going to book the cash and determine the new partner's share of total capital, and the difference is debited or credited to the old partners based on profit sharing. So our new capital balance now is $250,000. So Bill ends up with $250,000 times 20%, which means that Pam, Mike, and Bill are going to get also a bonus of $10,000 based on their profit sharing. And so the new balances based on the hybrid method would be, first we would adjust for the fair value of the land. Then they'd get the additional $10,000 bonus. Then we would book bills, and now we end up with our new total capital of $250,000. And this ends the presentation of what happens when the cash or contribution goes directly to the partnership.